What's up, everybody? It's me, Izzy, and we are back on time this week. It was hectic last week and the week before that, but today we were able to get all the information we needed for the week. I'm glad that it's ready, and I'm glad we're back in our regularly scheduled time of 6:30 Eastern time here. So I'm not by myself. I got someone with me. He was here last week. We're going to bring him back to the show. We might see him more frequently. So, with that said, let's welcome to the party.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Every time. I love it.
We got Shane's in the house. 1063 Comics is here. Shane, second week in a row. What's going on here? Do we have something going on here? Is there?
Maybe we'll see. We're having a good time, so
we're having a good time, right? So
yeah.
Let's go ahead.
I love talking about comics, so any chance to do it, I'll take it.
Awesome. So we got Las Cruces. He kicked it off earlier this morning, approximately 11 a.m. Eastern. Las Cruces came in and was like, "Hooray!"
He's a champion.
You know what I'm saying? And then he got the woohoo to go along with that. And finally, hello from Nuevo Mexico. And then look who's that, omnipresent. 1063 Comics. Go sub him up. If you haven't had a chance to sub him up, go sub him up.
Thank you. Yes,
Eli, what's going on? You get some love as well. And there goes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, collectors of all ages. Let's get to Izzy. What's going on, Joe? And Rich from Comic Caps Collectibles. What's going on, my man? You guys are the troopers. Thank you so much for being part of the show, coming in a little early. Oh, that's right. Happy belated birthday to Joe. Joe, the adventurous Joe. What did he get for his birthday? Did he get some good comics? I don't know. We'll find it. Maybe. Another friend of the channel, JSS Brooklyn is in the house. What's going on, John? All right. We got a lot to talk about. We got a very big lineup of information for you guys. I got to say, the show has been doing great. The weeklies have been doing great. You guys, I got some fun stuff happening for you guys coming up in the next couple of weeks. I was talking to Shane a little bit about it. He's down for it. I'm down for it.
Good stuff, people. Good stuff.
We got some fun stuff coming up today. We got a lot of good stuff that we're going to talk about today. But before we do that, I need to tell you guys about my mystery boxes. I have 3 boxes remaining. That's it. 3 boxes remaining. $60 mystery boxes. The grand prize is going to be the Marvel Premiere issue number 28, which features the Legion of Monsters. This book goes for $175, fair market value. That's not going to be the only thing that's going to be in those that's going to be available to win. There's also going to be another slab as well as a sketch. So if you hit me up on IG, I'll make sure you get into it. If I could get them all out by this week, I could start shipping them up for next week. Some people I'm going to probably ship up a little bit in advance, but be on the lookout for those boxes. They're going to be good. They're bangers. About 7 to 10 comic books that definitely going to be worth more than $60 altogether. So good stuff there. Let's take a look at what else we got going on. Well, nothing but turning 47. Oh, dude, man. Now I feel even older because I'm older than Joe.
I wish I was 47.
Yeah. My body tells me I'm 60, but my brain tells me I'm like
18.
Yeah, actually more like 17.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just 1 year below. Okay. It's gonna be a fun trending week, and we're gonna be talking about some good trending week. I have to give you guys fair warning about 2 things. Well, we'll talk about 3 in a second, but 2 things that I will tell you. This list will not feature any monsters, nor will it feature any absolute Batman. What I will tell you is that a certain little fella has made the list multiple times, and I couldn't be more happy for it. We'll find out who it is in a moment, but let's get up to the Comic Heat Index. You guys are ready for it? Let's go with it. All right, the Comic Heat Index. This is where we take all the information gathered from all the websites that do trending 20s and trending 10s or whatever you call them, and we mash them up to come up with what we call a true top 10 list. From this list, I got stuff from CBSI, I got stuff from Cover Price, and I got stuff from Key Collector. Those are the three major sites that provide trending lists, and I put them all together. So it's a crazy list. It's a fun list. I'm really stoked about it. You can see 4 of the books that are going to be highlighted this week. Shane, when you saw the list, without revealing anything, what was your thoughts?
I was surprised, for sure. And I laughed.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be fun, guys. Before I even show you the list, I want to say what's up to some new people that just jumped on in, and that's Joffrey Castro. Joffrey, what's going on? And our boy, Tone and Tone. Welcome, guys. Oh, man. You know what? This has got to be my favorite list so far. I'm sorry. I'm a little biased. I love this list, okay? All right. But as I said, we consolidated the data from multiple platforms to form a combined top 10 list. It's ranked based on market performance, popularity, and hype. From the sites, I mentioned the data sources, Key Collector, CBSI's Hot 10 list, and Cover Price. The reason why the show usually comes up a little later than scheduled is because Cover Price puts out their numbers like around 6 o'clock, but this time they put it at like 4. And I was telling Shane, I was like, yes, I got the numbers. So I was able to get those numbers into an Excel sheet. Shane has seen the Excel sheet. And what can you tell them about this sales data information that I gathered?
I can use one word to describe it: comprehensive.
So, yeah, and I did some work. It took me some time to get it done,
Yeah.
but I got it point to the part that I wanted to do. So let's get into this top 10. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first book from this list, and it's Invincible number 19. This book came out in 2004 for Image Comics. The last recorded sale was $100 at a 9.8, and that was recent. Fair market value of this book is $86 near mint. However, a 9.8 goes for about $244. It's currently in the trending list for Key Collector at number 8, CBSI at number 8 as well, and Cover Price has it listed at number 16. The sales volumes are fair. I wouldn't say they're that great, with 13%. And the overall hype of this book, I don't think is anywhere near the other books. So that's why at this moment, the hype level of this book is at a low. Shane, what can you tell me about this book that everyone in the audience needs to know?
So I'm a little bit of a late arrival to Invincible. I come to it through the TV show, but I do understand why this news is compelling for some people, because that was a cool character in the TV show for sure. My daughter is hooked on it. Every week she asks me when there's going to be more of the TV show. I'm still looking to buy all those compendiums and so I can read up on it. But a new comic series with Invincible, when it's already ended, I think that's what drives people to this book for sure.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned new book, right? This is a first appearance of a character, right?
Yeah.
Battle Beast, that's his name. Battle
Beast, that's right.
And he is going to debut in a new series. I believe it's an ongoing series.
I think I remember reading that too.
Mm-hmm. It's an ongoing series. I believe it's an ongoing series, and that is what's driving this book. It's not the TV series that's driving this book. This is the announcement of a new Invincible Universe comic book that's
Right.
going to come out, which there hasn't been an Invincible comic book in several years now. So that's why this book is on this list right now. As far as hype goes, I don't think there's major hype for this. I think there'll be more hype if the TV series was debuting, even though we're hearing that season 3 is on its way. It's very close from happening. But as of right, thank you, Joe. I'll mention that in a second. The show is coming back, but that's not why this book is in this list.
Yeah, for sure. It's Battle Beast.
It's definitely Battle Beast, and that's why we're having it. Let's go ahead. Let's go back to the chat for a moment here. All right. What's up, my nerdy collection? What it do, Izzy? And Joe is saying Invincible season 3 starts again in January with no stop gaps this time. Ooh, that's good here. All right. Black Spiders is in the house as well. What's going on, everybody? All right. So there you have it. Invincible number 19 is at number 10. Let's take a look at what's number 9. Thundercats Apex number 1. Take this. This is going to be a little different than the other ones because if you notice, it says Mark Spears variants. There are currently 3 versions of this book. There is a trade dress, there is a foil, there is a virgin, right? I'm not going into all the numbers of which is which. Instead, I said, let me focus on the one altogether, which is the Mark Spears variants. We just put it in there. This book just came out from Dynamite. We have a current sale of $80 near mint, fair market at $86. So whoever got it for a couple of bucks less than the fair market. It's a brand new book, so there's no slabs. Trendy list is for Key Collector and CBSI is number 7. Nothing on cover price. But I will say that this book hasn't really sold a lot because there are different versions of it, but we're talking about 9% with a hype level of medium. The medium is only because of Mark Spears and not because of Thundercats.
That's right. I mean, I'd never heard of this book. I'd heard of Thundercats, obviously, the relaunch from Dynamite. But Mark Spears right now, just the name, it's so hot. When his name shows up on a cover, I know that personally when I'm going through previews, now I look for the name. I might as well throw it on my pull list, even if I don't collect the book. So that's what a lot of other people are doing too.
Yeah, exactly. It's just right now he is the hottest artist today. He might end up becoming the artist of the year, really. But this book came out from Dynamite not that long ago. There was talk and murmurs about it because this is a new character that's being debuted, a new Thundercat that's being debuted in the comic book, but no one cares about that. Everybody cares about Mark Spears and what Mark Spears has been doing. And therefore, that book is number 9 on this list. All right. Just like, Mark Spears has been hot with a capital H for a minute now. I think it's more like a couple of minutes now. Yeah. Right? And Mum-Ra, that's not Mum-Ra. I don't think that's a different character. It looks kind of like Mum-Ra, but it's not Mum-Ra. That's
when I was going through the covers, I noticed, I don't remember the exact number, but it was, I think 34 or 40 different variants for the newest Thundercats.
Yeah, it's a
issue.
lot.
So there's some fans out there.
Yeah, there's definitely fans out there. Coming in at number 8 is Captain America Steve Rogers, number 1. This book came out in 2016 at Marvel Comics. Goes for $20, was the last sold book, which was, I believe, was today, actually. Fair market value of this book is at $10 near mint. A 9.8 could go about $130. This is the number 1 book in Key Collector, number 9 in CBSI, and it's not even listed in cover price at the moment. The sales volume it has increased in 19%. This book is at a medium right now. However, and the reason why it's medium is because we're not going to know anything until a couple of years from now if this book is actually worth that purchase, right? Because this book has hype simply because of one announcement that was made. Do you happen to know what that announcement was?
Yeah, for sure. So that's along the same lines as Downey Jr. and Doom. You've got Chris Evans being announced as a possible character in the Secret Wars movies, which everybody's kind of assuming that he's going to be playing more of an evil character. I haven't read the exact, how they get to that line, but that's what is driving this book up. Made me go and check to see if I have it, and thankfully I do. So in 2 years, if it goes way up, I'll have it.
We're not going to see anything until a few years about if this book was worth the purchase, right? However, this book did have hype when it was debuted. So when it was debuted, a lot of people were talking about it because this version of Steve Rogers is a Hydra agent. And that was kind of the premise behind this story, and that was the cliffhanger of the story. Therefore, for the upcoming Doomsday movie, because that's what I believe is where he's supposed to show up, Avengers Doomsday movie, if Robert Downey Jr. is playing Doctor Doom and Chris Evans was hired to return, everyone's making that assumption that this could very well be Hail Hydra Captain America. Only time will tell.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I'm sure there'll be more leaks.
I'm sure, but we're not going to hear anything for a while because
no,
that's like 2-3 years down the line. We're not going to hear anything about this. All right, SP Card Fan. I love that. I love that name. I remember this debut. Terrible story. Yeah, it didn't go well. It did not go well when this book came out.
That's why no one remembers this book until now.
I remembered. I do remember. I was like, oh yeah.
I remember the hype because I actually bought it because of that hype that was out there.
Right. Had that issue one of sold it for $30. Hail Hydra in a movie. That's true. There was a scene he did that. Right. Not the greatest cover. Reminds me of ASM. There goes Phil's Treehouse. All right. This, you know what? Let's see what happens. Again, we're not going to know anything until a couple of years from now.
Yeah.
All right. Number 7 on our list is another Mark Spears book. I told you there's no monsters, but there's plenty of Mark Spears to go around. Superwoman Special Number 1. This is the 1 in 25 book that came out, I believe, last week. The last recorded sale of this book is $97, and that is the fair market value. Because this book came out last week, there are no slabs reported. A key collector does not have this on his list. However, CBSI has it at number 2. Cover Price has it at number 4. The sales volume is at 24%. Now, for a 1 in 25, you expect the sales volume to be a little low because there's not as many books. However, the hype level of this book is medium. Again, the hype has nothing to do with the book in itself, even though it's a pretty good book. It has everything to do with Mark Spears and a lot of blue.
Yeah, I read the book. It's good. Like you said, it's nothing crazy, but it was good. And it's just, again, with Mark Spears, like everybody's hunting for it. And if you do a search on eBay and do the sold items, you'll see sales are all over the place. So if you're patient, you might be able to get a really good deal on this book if you do want it.
Yeah, and for $97 right now, I don't know if it's worth that price. I think it's a little overpriced for it. Again, it's Mark Spears, so he has this fan base, it would appear, that I have not seen in a very, very long time.
If his books keep cruising along and the next thing he does is a really great series, then look for this book to maybe hold its value. But I mean, it just all depends on his next project.
I would agree. And just like Black Spider says, too much blue. It is very blue. But it works. It does the job. Let's take a look at number 6 in our list. Star Wars Hyperspace Stories number 6. This came out last year in 2023, Dark Horse Comics. This is $12 near mint. That was the last recorded sale, and that also happens to be the fair market value of this book. As of this recording, there's no recorded slabs ever being sold. That doesn't mean that there's no slabs existing, but no slabs have been recorded as purchased. It's on the trending list as number 3 in Key Collector, number 6 in CBSI, and number 10 in Cover Price. Sales volume has increased 36%, and the hype level of this book is at a medium. So, for those of you who are probably wondering, this book doesn't have anything to do with the latest Star Wars series that's currently going on Disney Plus. This has everything to do with the first appearance of a character that is noted to be Jabba the Hutt's son. I forgot his name. Do you happen
Yeah,
to you
I can't think of it either.
you
Like
guys in the chat
Weeble
will
or
know?
something like that.
Greedo, right? Something like that. Greedo.
Yeah.
Okay. So why is that important? So it's important because it was recently announced that, let me see if I could get this information here. So I'll just
Yeah,
get.
it's likely to be part of the new Mandalorian movie that's coming up,
Mhm.
I believe.
Yeah, so there's a Mandalorian movie, and there's an actor from The Bear
Right.
that is going to be voicing this character. And it's his. I'm trying to get the name. I don't know him like that. Jeremy Allen White. That's way. Let me do that again for the edited version. So the actor Jeremy Allen White, right? Jeremy Allen White was reported to be the character that will be voicing the voice of Greedo in the next Star Wars project, which is the son of Jabba the Hutt. So that's why it's there. So it immediately got people looking for this book. $12 is a fair price for a comic book for
Yeah.
spec value. There we go. We got the right name. I knew someone was going to know it. So it's not Greedo, it's Rhoda.
Rhoda.
Rhoda the Huttlet. Okay. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. Okay. Um, that's Jabba's son. Yeah. So I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't think this is major spec, but if the book is $12, it shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, for me, like I consider it kind of a minor offshoot character. And with the Star Wars TV shows and whatnot, where they're at right now, it's kind of really hard to say if the spec would ever pan out. But at right now, for $12, like you say, if you kind of want to collect first appearances, you can get in pretty easy.
I agree. We got AR in the house. That's the first appearance of Stinky. Thank you, AR, for that information.
I think that's from the Clone Wars too. There was an episode where they had to rescue him. If I
Really?
remember, maybe it's a different character. They can let us know in the chat.
All right. And we also have Korban's Hideout. What's up, guys? Happy Monday indeed. We're going to have fun. We're having fun today. Okay. So there you have it. Star Wars Hyperspace Stories. Star Wars Hyperspace Stories issue number 6. Coming in number 6 in this list. And at number 5, War of the Realms. New Agents of Atlas number 1. This book came out in 2019 over at Marvel Comics. This has a last recorded sale of $15 at a near mint. That's also the fair market value for the book. And a 9.8 could go for about $84. This book's on the trending list at number 10 for Key Collector, number 2 in CBSI, number 8 in cover price. This book has seen increase in sales of 41%, and the hype level of this book is at a medium. This book has been on trending lists before, but for different reasons. The reason that it's on the list now is completely different than what it was a couple of months ago, maybe a few years ago, in fact.
During the COVID bubble, this book, you couldn't touch it. It was so hot. You would easily pay, in Canada anyway, I remember seeing copies of it for over $100.
And what is the purpose behind this book being so hot? Do you happen to know the reason?
Oh, this one, it's the appearance of a new team, if I remember correctly, but I don't know for sure.
Well, the good news is I do know. So
I know you know.
So it's the first appearance of actual several characters, but the one character that people are really looking for is a character by the name of Luna Snow. And Luna Snow is the character that people are hunting this book for. Why is Luna Snow so important? Very simply put, she is in Marvel Rivals, and she's one of the 30 playable characters in Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals is hot right now. So this is the first book of our list, and we're in number 5, so we're halfway through this list.
Yeah.
This is the first book of our list that is a Marvel Rivals related spec. This book is hot. It's not as hot as the other books we're going to talk about, but it does feature numerous first appearances. But the most important first appearance as of right now is the first appearance of Luna Snow, who is part of the Marvel Rivals game. So what's your understanding of Marvel Rivals right now? Because
Well, Izzy, I've got 3 kids, so I have a pretty good understanding of Marvel Rivals. we had a long drive yesterday, so I had lots of questions about Marvel Rivals, and I'll have different stories as we go through this. But my oldest plays it. He did play Overwatch, and he's out of that now because he's all in on Marvel Rivals, team-based game. And every time they release a new character or there's a special character out, it has all the kids that they're playing. They all want that character, which is driving people to look for the books.
mm-hmm.
Hey, it's a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is great for the industry. Some people feel, but I disagree. I think this is great because what used to be TV or movie spec is now video game spec. And one of the things that I noticed that Marvel Rivals does really well is that once it shows a character, it gives you some information about their backstory, and more importantly, where they are in the comics, like where you find the book, so you get to know what's the first appearance. And that is why people are going out hunting these books. So now people are looking at these books and saying to themselves, oh, I want to get that book, or I want to get that book, which helps the industry.
Just like the old school Marvel Universe book.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But, all right. I didn't know she appeared here. Yep, now you do. And hello, AR. All right. Yeah, Overwatch 2 right now. It's from what I understand, it has a lot of the same guys that made Overwatch, and they were part of Marvel Rivals. So DC did this for Fortnite. Yes, I think they did, not to the same extent though. Not to the same extent as the way Marvel Rivals is. Mm-hmm. So I just got Marvel vs. Capcom. Showing your age there, buddy, aren't you? Luna is a cool character. I'm glad she's getting some. Yeah, I agree. I love the fact that she is getting some love. So be on the lookout for this book. This book is going to start climbing. Like the other books, I think in Marvel Rivals, if Marvel Rivals remains hot, this book will remain hot with it. So you could let it, I would say, cool it off a little bit, if anything. If you do find this book for $15, then it might be worth that pickup, because this is a spec not just for Marvel Rivals, it's also a spec for when it comes to the MCU as well.
Yeah, I agree. At $15 again, when it's that low, I would pick one up if I saw it for 15.
Mm-hmm. Coming in at number 4, Star Wars issue number 7. This is a great book. Came out back in 1978, and for Marvel Comics. Here's the funny part: the last recorded sale of this book was at $3. It was a very fine version of this book. It goes for about $10 at fine. 9.8s are going to cost you about $198. This book was number 5 in Key Collector, number 5 in CBSI, and number 9 in Cover Price. The sales volume increase was 52%, and this book has a hype level of medium. This is a cool book because issue 7 of this Star Wars series was when they introduced new stories within the Star Wars universe. So issue 6 and before and prior was all about, the Star Wars movie. This one was outside of that universe. And the important part of this book is it features the first appearance of a character by the name of Crimson Jack. Crimson Jack is it's called the Pirate Master. This is a Han Solo story with Chewbacca. Do you know any reason why this book is hot right now?
Yeah, so this has to do with, and without throwing any spoilers, I'll let you do that if you want. But if you watch the new Star Wars TV show, then there's a character in it, and that character may or may not be tied to this book. And it's a good show. It's Jude Law, I think his name is, plays the kind of the main older character. I've watched only the first couple episodes, and I thought it was okay. It was good kid adventure. It's like Goonies and Star Wars.
Yeah, and a lot of people have been enjoying the show. I haven't started watching it yet. I'm gonna start watching it shortly. I just haven't had the opportunity to do it with all the Christmas stuff going on right now.
Yeah.
But this is the first appearance in comics, and we're going all the way back to 1978. So this version in the comic book could very well be different from what we're going to see in Skeleton Crew.
Yeah,
but
hold on to those back issues, people. You never know.
But $3 for this book,
Yeah,
someone got
crazy.
this. It's a deal.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? It's definitely a deal. Even $10 is a deal for this book. If
yeah,
you find
for
this
sure.
book at a really, really low price, it's worth the pickup just because it's a classic Star Wars book. We're talking about 70s here. Some
Yeah.
Bronze Age goodness. So it's always nice to see a Bronze Age book in the list.
For sure. I love the old covers. Love it.
Solo has a hangover phase. Well, that's normal. And man, what a classic cover. Yeah, it really is a cool cover.
Never mind
So
Solo. Look at the guy in the background. Like,
kind of looks like a mixture of Ghost Rider meets Hobgoblin.
yeah, exactly.
Right? And that's Chewbacca right there. Like, yeah, we're gonna draw him the way we want to draw him.
Yeah.
They don't care.
No.
These old I agree. Yeah. Cat Fan Comics brought. Oh wow! In a flea market. Yeah, this is a cheap book right now. I don't know if it's a cheap book at the moment, because the price of this book is going to start climbing upwards. And 1978 book, it's going to climb up. So if you find it for $3, pick it up.
Yeah, for sure. You're going to see this at flea markets because most of those books, they don't go through and pull them out a lot of times.
Exactly. Let's take a look at what's number 3, and I'm happy to say it's my boy Jeff. The day has finally come where I could tell people in the audience that I told you so. I said Jeff was going to be a big deal. And look, I have people leaving the stream now. I said Jeff was going to be a big deal a year ago. I said Jeff was going to be something. He was going to be a big deal. I guarantee you. That was back in 2023 in Marvel Comics. This book is now going for $60 was it last sold. $60. This book's last sold. Fair market value of this book is currently at $52. And look, a 9.8 currently is $53. That's not true anymore.
No.
You know what I'm saying? That book, that someone got lucky. Trending list, number 4 in Key Collector, number 4 in CBSI, number 7 in cover price. The sales value of this book has increased 33%. And yes, the hype level is true. Jeff is one of the most fun playable characters in Marvel Rivals.
Now, I want to use this opportunity to ask you over the next couple issues because there's, not giving anything away. I'm curious to know where your love affair with Jeff began.
I just love Jeff. I don't know. It's just one of those things. He's a cute mascot. One of the things I love about comics is that there are some comic books that are not all ages. And Jeff is just one of those characters that, let's be honest, you're not taking him seriously. And what I mean by not taking him seriously is like he's a fun, beloved character. He has everything you want in a mascot. I don't think we'll ever see Jeff in an MCU project unless they do some kind of Easter egg for it. But what I know we will see is more like animated features and things like that will attract children to comic books. That's what I love about that.
Where did you first encounter Jeff? Like, was it in the digital stories that they've released?
It was actually here. It was here. This is where I got to know him, to get really into Jeff. It was during this run because this issue is actually, it's not reprinting, but it's a collection of the digital comics,
right?
Because that's where he first debuted. Jeff first debuted in digital comics. We'll talk a little bit about his first appearance in a moment, but like I said, we will talk about more Jeff. But this book's went, and there's a version of it that's like a Jaws cover that's actually gaining some traction as well.
Yeah.
And I think he's adorable, personally speaking. He's a baby shark.
Yeah, it's a hit, because you're right. It attracts the kids because it's fun to read because it's not hard to read. One,
Mhm.
because it's all kind of nonverbal stuff or other characters. Two, with the video game, um, again, talking to my kids, like they all know Jeff because soon as Jeff shows up, the game is over. He just comes in and basically chews up everybody, and the
That's
round's
awesome.
over. So there's a lot of exposure on Jeff right now in the game, more so than other characters, I think. And people are just finding it fun. So it's easy to find. I think it's a hit for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Let's see what the group says here. Ha ha. What about Venom War issued with? Yeah, I think everything that's Jeff right now is gonna be hot. If
Yeah.
Jeff's on the cover, grab it for the time being because I think it's going to. It's like Mark Spears. You throw the name Mark Spears, it's gonna sell. I think right now, if you throw Jeff somewhere, it's gonna sell because the outside people, the people from the outside, are now coming into to collect.
Is this the
And that's
same cover that I sent you that I
the
have?
is it the Scarlet Witch cover?
The Black Cat one.
Oh, the Black Cat. It's possibly.
Because
I
the
don't
title of
remember.
that one is listed as "It's Jeff the Jeff Verse" or something like that.
Yeah, which is another book that's
Okay.
actually gaining some momentum as well. It didn't make the trending list here, but it is on other trending lists. So the Jeff verse is the second issue of this same kind of run.
Right.
Yeah. I'll be wearing Jeff as shoes in it. What's going on, DVH? All right. That said, it's a wonderful get to attract. Yeah, I agree. If it brings, you see, that's the problem that people have. We have to bring new readers. In order to bring new readers, you have to find ways to attract them. It is better to bring them while they're young, because then they'll stay and then they'll grow like we did. We were all attracted to comic books at a young age. And now we get to read more mature comic books. And I think this is a big win for the comic book industry. Again, it's a mascot. It's just a little mascot. That's all it is.
It's a fun character, fun book.
All right. He's a cute little four-legged troublemaker. Well, he is the pet of Gwenpool, so I will agree to that.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the Jaws in the 9.8? Wow, and you sold it last year. I didn't know you had it in the 9.8. I would have killed for that. Because I think I have a couple of comic books. I used to throw them in my mystery boxes of Jeff books, just so people could have a Jeff book. All right. We'll talk about West Coast in a minute. All right. They made a huge deal about the character. I was messaging the creators for everything with Jeff, and now I sit on a politics.
It's the throne of Jeff.
Oh my God. You can find Jeff. Yeah. He was the king of Staten Island. All right. Jeff is awesome.
Yeah.
And speaking of Jeff, West Coast Adventures #7, 2019 Marvel Comics, 9.8 sold for $250. Fair market value is $153. The guy who bought it at $250 got it a deal because the fair market value for a 9.8 is currently $350. This book is number 6 in Key Collector. This is number 3 in CBSI. This is number 5 in Cover Price. The sales volume of this book has increased 28%. The hype is high. For those of you who don't know, this is the first appearance of Jeff in comics.
And if you want an additional book that you can probably get for a lot more affordable price, you can track down the first cover appearance. I wouldn't call it a strong cover appearance, but it is out there.
Yeah. And at the moment, that one, no one's really talking about that cover appearance at the moment. That first cover. I don't remember what is his first cover appearance. I will have to go back. I don't recall exactly what is his first cover
I
appearance.
had somebody post this on Instagram, and then I'd ask them, what the first cover is, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. I don't want to give out the wrong title,
Mhm.
but I'm sure it can be looked up.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure we could find it. In fact, you know what? I could do that right now since this is a live stream.
Oh yeah, there you go.
He's Chef Jeff the Land Shark, right?
Yeah, if I knew how to use Instagram better, I could just search through comments I made and find it, but I'm
Let's
not
see
clever
here.
enough.
So his first cover appearance. Check this out, guys. DVH got it before I did. It's Superior Spider-Man number 7. Just to get it, just so that you know.
That's right. It's
Just
the
so that you
only
know.
volume of Superior Spider-Man I don't have.
It is currently at a high for $3. So if you can't get this book, go running for Superior Spider-Man right now.
Yeah.
Because that book is going to go up in value almost instantaneously.
The only thing that'll stop it is the cover isn't that great.
The cover is not that great. Let's see. I could go ahead and pose it because it's not Jeff as we know and love. So let me go ahead and share it with you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. So there it is. And
there he is.
He's that little guy right underneath Gwenpool. That's his first cover. It is not. It really isn't all that exciting.
That's not the Jeff that you love.
Yeah. But if you go to his next book, it would be this one, which is the Deadpool book, Deadpool number 10. And that one, as you can see, he's right there. There's Jeff.
Yeah.
So, and I take it that book is not at his. Well, that one's going for 20. Wow. Because he bonds with the symbiote.
Right.
So go hunting for Jeff, guys. Go hunting for Jeff.
Him.
Go find Jeff. I love Jeff. Love Jeff. Oh, look at that. I got my screens out. Look at that. Let's go back here. There we go. All right. That was a fun book to read. 2019. And knowing is half the battle. That's right. So West Coast Avengers issue number 7. The first appearance of Jeff is super hot. The real question is for how long will it be this hot? I wouldn't purchase this book at this moment.
No.
Right? I have to let it cool off. But will it ever drop in value? Because $250? That's a lot for a book that's 2019.
It seems like if it had a stronger cover that had Jeff on it as a first appearance, I can see more people trying to hunt it down. But people are really going to be looking for those identifiable Jeff covers to, because you want to show it off, right?
Yeah.
And like true kind of collectors will always go back to this book, but I think 250, I don't see it staying up there.
Yeah. Well, I was lucky enough to buy this a month ago. Yeah, it was a book that I had in my list of books I wanted to pick up someday. And I didn't know about how Marvel Rivals was going to end up. And honestly, I didn't know about Jeff as a playable character. So if I knew in advance that Jeff was going to be a playable character, I would have jumped on this book months ago. I would have jumped. But I didn't foresee it myself. I knew Jeff was going to be hot. So that one thing I knew. I just didn't know when it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Speaking of hot, the number 1 book of the week is Ultimate Universe 1 Year in number 1. This is the spoiler variant by Alessandro Cappuccini. Sure. I'm gonna just call him Cappuccini.
Yeah.
All right. This book just came out. It's $14 near mint. Is now fair market value of $18. Someone got the book for a couple of bucks less. There's already 9.8 being sold at $57. So that's the average for 9.8. It's not on Key Collector at the moment. However, it was number 1 on CBSI and it was also #1 in cover price. And the sales values has increased 189% because it's a brand new book. That's why the sales volume is high. The hype level is a high for this book because everybody went to buy this book when it came out.
Yeah.
Mhm,
And this is one of those, if you're a gambler, then you're buying now
mhm,
because you're hoping that the Ultimate Wolverine, when it comes out, is going to be really good and really hot and want to make people go back and get these appearances.
mhm.
And
Yeah,
that's the gamble, is we don't know that.
and so far, so far, not bad. It's a cameo appearance. I'm sorry to say,
Yep.
slight spoiler. It's a cameo. He shows up at the last 2 pages of the book. So there you have it. Mhm.
And that would probably be listed once they get all this stuff done as a second cameo after the Ultimate
Mhm.
X-Men little bit that's in, I think, issue 6.
Yeah. Now tell us a little bit about this cover in case some people didn't know.
So we were talking about this before. I noticed on the cover when I bought it, at the very bottom there, you can just make it out in the picture. It's after BWS, which I recognize as Barry Windsor Smith, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And then it just kind of clicked in, and it goes back to Marvel Comics Presents. There's an issue with Wolverine, and that was his whole origin with Weapon X. Really great run by him, by the way. I think it's 8 issues.
Mhm.
But the cover is definitely a homage to that cover, and
I have it
it's
right here.
yeah, it's drawn like the trees are all in the same spot. It
There it
looks
is.
pretty much
So it's paying homage to Marvel Comics Present issue 77, the Weapon X storyline,
yeah.
done by Barry Windsor Smith, who is an icon. Um, yeah, we got it's an homage. A lot of people didn't know. So I could see people picking this book up now just because they want to match
Yeah.
the two books together. I think I might have multiple copies of this book.
Yeah, I have a couple copies, and when I checked it in cover price anyway, it's listed in there as $30. So
Mm,
I mean, take that with a grain of salt, right? But we'd have to check to see current sales. But it does let you go back, and no one is talking about that book right now in relation to this book. So if this book continues to stay hot, I agree with you. Like, people are going to start to look, oh, what's this all about?
mhm. And that book is not as expensive either. The Marvel Comics Present books are not really expensive,
No,
so people would like to have that little homage. Wow, what a list! I love this list. This is my favorite list so far of the year.
it's a good list.
Hmm. Yeah. So yeah, Ultimate Wolverine was my hype. It was definitely hype. I love the way I love the muzzle and the like all the everything the breath coming out. Uh, I have some of these books amazing. Also, waste. Throwback. Yeah, exactly. I like that they kind of turn it into kind of the same kind of throwback of the original Hulk 180. So
Yeah,
people.
and they're like setting it up that he's going to be kind of the enforcer for, the maker's side of things, which
Mhm,
is a cool twist. They've done that a few times in different Wolverine stories where it's starting out that way here. And,
mhm,
I'm going to say he's probably going to flip eventually, but
mhm.
hey, that's going to be the fun of the story.
Yeah, exactly. Why he has a muzzle. That's the real question I have. So there you have it, guys. Tell me what you think of this ranking system. Which books do you have? And let me know in the comments below which books do you have, which books do you think should have been on this list. Stay tuned next week for the rankings. I'm sure we'll see some more Jeff and
Yeah.
possibly some more Mark Spears. And will Absolute Batman return? Well, issue 3 is scheduled for this week, so I wouldn't be too surprised if Absolute Batman decides I'm coming back.
And there's some
So,
good covers for
mhm,
Absolute Batman.
exactly. All right, so that's the list for that week. It's a really cool list. I really enjoyed doing this one. I'm with. Thank you for a great list. Appreciate it. Um, yeah, it was fun doing that list. I think it was so like just seeing all these books, and it's just like we have some runs, we got some new books, we got new characters. Eh, That's what
Just
that's
shows you
what
that
this
the
is all
influence
about.
of TV and video games is still
Mhm.
around. Like, it still can pop up, and everybody kind of thought the MCU was kind of a train that was pulled in, and with except for the Doom stuff. But now, like, you have this video game, and
Mhm.
everybody's chasing after these books, and it's great. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. So now that we did our trending list, we're gonna change gears just a little bit, and we're gonna talk a little bit about the books that were hot a month ago, 2 months ago, and 3 months ago. For those of you who don't know what this is 30, 60, 90 look back. Let's take a look at the books that came out that not that long ago, but are they still hot today? All right, before we go into the list, I just want to give a shout out to our guys at Cover Price. They were able to give me a promo code. If you use promo code Izzyverse, you can unlock 30 days of premium membership for just $1.99. It'll be $6.99 thereafter. I use Cover Price literally every day. So
Love it.
it is definitely a service that I absolutely love. And with that premium, you could connect it with CLZ, where you could get the prices of your current comic books and just mash the two together. It's definitely worth the price, I will say.
Yeah. I almost guarantee that if you load in a couple hundred books, you will find books that you did not know had some value in there. Almost guaranteed.
Absolutely. So give a shout out to our guys at Cover Price. Again, $1.99 with promo code Izzyverse. Just go in and do it. So let's take a look at what this week's 30, 60, 90 look back. You know, I wasn't going to go a live stream without talking about Absolute Batman. So we're going to talk about some Absolute Batman. It was weird not talking about him in the top 10, but we're going to talk about him now. But before we talk about that, let's go with that first book in this list. And this was Forbidden Planet #1. This book came out in 1992 and for Innovation Comic Books. So we're talking about a pretty old book now. During the week of November 18th, this book had it was #1 on the list, top weekly sales of $121 at a CGC 9.8. During that week, 47 titles were sold. So 47 copies of this book were sold during that week, which gave it a growth of 808%. Raws were going for $10 for fine, and slabs were going for $80 at a 9.6. Before we start looking into Cover Price on how this book has changed over this 30-day period, what do you know about this book right now, Shane?
So this is one of those books that popped up for me that was not on my radar. Again, one of those ones. You know, it's that classic horror sci-fi thing that is super hot right now.
Mm-hmm.
And people are looking for that and going back through these smaller companies and trying to find this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's a remake of a 1956 movie called Forbidden Planet. Again, this is the reason why this book is hot. It's because it was also optioned for another remake, and that's why people are grabbing this book here. I don't know so much about its future longevity. That's a word I like to use a lot, longevity.
Longevity, yeah.
Right. But what I do know is that at the short term, the book is hot.
Yeah.
And it's only been 30 days, so it's only been a month since this book was in the top 10. It's not in the top 10 anymore. It's still trickling within the top 20s right now, but it has died down. So let's take a look at Cover Price to see how much has changed since then. So, all right, so there we go. So you have the information there, and let's take a look at the value overview. So December 10th, the book sold at a very fine for $10, and the book is going for roughly about $14 right now. A raw copy, a 9.8 is selling at about $191. So the book has increased in value since then, because a 9.8 was going for $121 a month ago. So now we're looking at $191. So we have seen an uptick in that. However, not much of an increase in the raws. It was about $4 increase, so it's not that big of a boost since then. You can see that it's trending downward on this list. And now let's go ahead and take a look at what's really happening with this book. So at its all-time high, this book was $283 at a 9.8. That's the all-time high. It's not going for that anymore.
No.
So it has dropped significantly since that last purchase. When we look at the sales data, we'll look at some of the things that have been selling. You can see that the last sold, it sold recently in November and December, but $44 for near mints, $30, $10, $20 for a fine. Someone overpaid for a fine. However, the 9.8, you see the fair market is 191. Last sold was on the 16th of November for 283. 9.4, $89, $100 on average.
It just must be like obviously not a huge print run, I wouldn't say, and so getting that higher grade is going to be a lot more difficult. I mean, it's another one of those books that if I saw it raw and it was a reasonable price, I'd pick it up.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's take a look at some sales data. Especially now that you mentioned that, if I see a raw for around $20, $25, and it's in tip-top condition, I could easily get that slab and get it worth the price that everybody's trying to sell it for.
Yeah. And then you hold it if you think the movie's actually going to get made, and then all of a sudden you're sitting on a really hot book right before the movie comes out.
Exactly. All right. So in November, there has been some sales. So there have been plenty of sales going on in November. As you can see, you had a $44, $44, $34, $59. So it has been selling. The 9.0s to 9.4s are selling around the same. So the book is still hot right now. Again, like I said, it's only been a month since then. So we have a significant increase. We have a couple of sales in December here. All right. And on the fine, some sales that were all the way back in November. Right. The low grades haven't really sold that much, even though we did see a no grade sell on the 25th of November. And someone purchased a book for $8. Look at that. No grade doesn't really tell us much.
No.
The condition of the book, so you don't know what the actual condition of this book. Someone got this book for like almost $5. Look at that, $4.55, $4.75, $4.95. You know, for not knowing the grades, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. As far as the slabs go, got a couple of slab sales, but the last slab that was sold was on the 18th, and that was the 9.6 at $79. And then that's pretty much where we stand here. So
9.6 is so close to being great. And for that price, why not?
Exactly. But a 9.8 did sell for $283. However, one day, it sold for $105. And before that, $89 on the same day.
Yeah, if that person that paid $280 is kicking themselves, I'm sure.
Well, exactly. Well, not $283. Well, that was when I'm sure that's when the announcement came out, because we're talking about 30 days ago. So someone way overpaid for the book, but that's what you get with these books.
Yeah.
So that's Forbidden Planet. Number 1, the book is cooling down. It's definitely cooling down.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go to our next book here, and that's Absolute Batman number 1. The book that just doesn't go away at the moment. This was 2 months ago. So on October 21st, week 3, the book had a top weekly sales of $100 at a 9.8. Weekly units sold for 191 of them have sold, a growth of 45%. You could get a raw for about $26. You could get a slab for about $100. We're not even 3 issues in, and this book is still pretty hot, but it's cooling off now.
Next issue comes out Wednesday, and like you said, we're only at issue 2, and it's still 60 days holding its value and its sales trend.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as long as those books keep being great and fun to read,
Mm-hmm.
like we'll see what happens with Flash. I saw a couple images and I'm a little worried that the
Well,
momentum
Flash,
might
I
be.
think Flash is definitely one to be on the lookout. I'm not feeling Green Lantern right now. I'm very curious for Martian Hunter, though.
That's always a character that I find interesting as well. So, of the three of those, that would be the one I'd be most interested in for sure.
Let's take a look at where it stands today. So with Absolute Batman, the book is going for about $40 now. And that seems to be the price range for a raw copy. So you're paying about $40. That means it's increased in price, almost doubled in price. 9.8 is still leveled at that. It's 116, even though then was $100. However, I think it's worth noting because this book is really the highest selling book of the year. There's a lot of copies of this book.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I think 9.8s are going to be very common.
Yeah. Nobody panic. And
Exactly.
you'll get it. You'll find this book.
Mm-hmm. So 2 months in, again, we got tons of variants.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing too.
Mm-hmm.
So many.
Now, the highest known value of this book was recently. It was actually a few days ago, and it sold for $148 at a 9.8. Someone said, I'm going to pay it.
Right. I just want to have it.
Exactly. I think that was a poor purchase.
They could have bought the first appearance of Jeff instead.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Definitely worth it, man. That's worth it. I think $148 is overspending for a book that is the highest selling book of the year. And if it's the highest selling book of the year, that means there's plenty of copies to go out there. Patience.
Yes.
It's a virtue, as they say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, as of late, you can see that the book is still trending within that price range where near mint are going for about $35 to $40, around that range. The slabs, $116 for 9.8, $66 for a 9.6, $48. What a difference a 9.8 does with a 9.4. Like,
yeah,
it's just like, oh, I don't want that. That's damaged.
Yeah,
it's near mint, guys.
Yeah, that's the volume of the book being out there that kind of dictates that. I mean, everybody knows that there's thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of copies of that book out there. And so if it's not a 9.8, I have two. And I know if I send them in and they're not a 9.8, I've got some placeholders.
All right, let's take a look a little bit at the sales data. As far as the sales data go, you're going to see this book only really sell it at the near mint level. So there's plenty of sales in December. You could track down here, and you can see in November there was absolutely tons of sales. Total 100 sales at 9.6 to 9 to 10s. Look at that, 1,178 sales happen. So it's selling, and these are the figures just for December. So people are getting it for 39, 31. I see someone got it for $30. I'm trying to see if somebody got it anything lower. 27 was a nice low number. Someone got it for $22. That's pretty good.
Yeah. It's interesting that people are still driving towards the number 1A cover first print rather than, jumping on all the other various printings and variants and whatnot.
Yeah, I agree. There was a 9.8 sold for $25. That's a pretty good sale. $15 was back in November 28 for 9.2. That's not bad, right? And that's just the raws, right? With the raws, they could tell you it's a 9.2, and it could be a 9.8 candidate.
Yeah, for sure.
So you never really know. As far as slabs go, there are some slabs already been reported, and there they are. There's plenty. 54 9.8s already been sold for this book. And if you see 9.6, 9.4, there's not as many.
Yep.
right? So this is a book you want to get at a 9.8 because there's enough of them to
Yeah,
go
for
around.
sure.
Mhm. Okay. That's Absolute Batman, and that was the book 60 days ago. Now this is the book that we're about to go over. I'm definitely curious about this one. This is the one I'm more curious about, and that is, let's get this clicker, Venom #3. I see you have several copies. Venom #3. This came out back in 2018. The book was #1 September 16th during week 3. Top weekly sale of this book was at $280 for 9.8. The weekly units sold with 94. That's actually pretty high for a book that's an older book.
Yeah.
The growth percentage was 43%. Raws you would purchase them at about $140, while slabs you could get them for about $286. So whoever got that top weekly sale was actually lower than the most common was. Have you had a chance to see the last Venom movie?
I did. I
Any
watched it.
thoughts?
Yeah, so I enjoyed it, but I always have to say with Venom, I watched the first movie and I had to separate my comic self from my movie self. I love movies, I have a whole wall of them. And under those circumstances, I really loved it. If you're watching it, if you went in thinking, I want this to be, a comic book accurate or somewhat close kind of story, you left angry. And I totally understand that. But I just went in at a different angle. I thought Tom Hardy was really good. In the third one, I liked it. I thought it was a cool arc. I loved the end of it, the last 20 minutes. I really enjoyed. Had a lot of great action in it.
I'm with you on that. I went into Venom 1 coming out hating the movie. Hated it. Absolutely hated it. Then I saw it again on stream. And I said to myself, this is not my Venom.
Right.
But I like this movie because I like Tom Hardy's portrayal.
Yeah.
And this Venom becomes a different character to me now. So, and I felt the same way about 2, and I felt the same way going into this last one.
Yeah.
If you went to Venom 3 thinking you were going to get a comic accurate Venom, I don't know what you were thinking, especially if you saw the previous 2.
Yeah.
With that said, the reason why this book was hot is because it features the first appearance of No. And No was in the movie, not to the extent that people thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
But he was part of the movie, and it's supposed to lead to some future developments, even though Sony has recently said we want to reboot. So I don't know what the future of No is going to be.
Yeah, exactly. And they did very clever marketing with that, which really pumped this book up because I agree with you. People thought that he might be in there a lot more than he actually turned out to be.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll see. I don't know, man. Like I read that too about Sony. They're just having a little bit of problem making Spider-Man universe movies without Spider-Man in them.
But they're still making money. That's what a lot of
Yeah.
people don't know. They're making money.
Yeah.
They're still... All right. Let's take a look at how this book has changed in the last 90 days. Okay. So we're here in cover price again. We're going to take a look at the market information. As you can see, this is the first appearance of No. The last recorded sale for a near mint copy was $135. That means it only dipped $5. That's not bad.
No.
That's not bad. The most common raws are going for approximately $148. So there is a decrease. Here's the real big one. A slab, a 9.8 slab, is now on average $211, as opposed to that high sale of $280 that we mentioned earlier. So that's a significant dip. Okay. If we go down to the sales info, this book, the highest known sale was at a 9.9. So 9.9s are outliers. Someone purchased this book at a 9.9 for $4,200.
Cue the Picard face palm.
Well, this gives me an opportunity to put something that I haven't put in a long time. And that is,
what the hell is even that?
I'm sorry. I don't care if it's a 9.9. I am not coughing up $4,200 for this book. I don't care if it's a 9.9.
That's crazy.
I will get a true key for that price.
Yeah. That's about like what, almost 20 times the 9.8 price?
Yeah. I don't get it. God bless that person. Well, God bless the seller that was able to sell it.
You know what? I better get these things sent. You know, one of them.
You got a 9.9.
Let me look at these. Now that you put that up there, maybe one of them is a 9.9.
Oh my goodness! Imagine if you did get a 9.9 in this book. Woo! All right,
Party my place.
That is definitely an outlier. Oh my goodness! The book is averaging about $140, $130. It's at a level. It's definitely at a level. Wait, right here. I would rather have a Hulk 181 at a 6.5 or
double thumbs up on that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you know what? While we're at it, what's going on, Kenneth Burr? I wasn't ignoring you. It just we have moments for chat. So welcome to the chat. Again, it's like the book doesn't. It's not really dropping in value here. It's maintaining this level pace, which I think it's a little shocking to see right now. You know?
Yeah, and you know what? If you went back, a lot of people would have said that this is one of those books that, it's gonna Venom 3. No, they're no good. It's gonna tank, and it's holding its value. So it's a pretty good investment if you can find a great deal on it. It's a good book to pick up.
I also think is the fact that they mentioned that they are planning to have some future with No. So I think that's what's keeping the consistency of this book leveled. It's because there is this expectation that we will see Null again. If Null was like came and left, then I see the book dropping in value. But the fact that they threw this is just a teaser of what's to come. Even though I don't think we're going to see Venom for a while, it doesn't make much sense.
Why bring Norman Reedus in to do that and not have some kind of plan in mind? Mm-hmm. I mean, I know it happens, but he's not just kind of like a little actor or anything. Like he's a fairly well-known person.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. Okay. So if you take a look at some sales, let's take a look at that for a minute. So let's see here. So there really wasn't any sales of a 9.6 was sold on the 8th for like 140. A couple of books were sold. So it hasn't really sold as much. So you see this one sell here at a very fine 120. And then we got some no grades that sold within the month. So not as much. But man, that 9.9, man, that thing just whew.
I'm gonna dream about that tonight.
$200, $229, $214. We see one here for $189. That's pretty good. Okay, 9.6, 159, another 159, 169, and that was in October, so not that long ago. So it's not selling like that. It's kind of out of the stratosphere at the moment. But I guess that $4,000 sale was just like, yeah, why not? That could have just been a rich guy saying, hey, I got money. Let me show you what I could do.
Yeah. And 9.9s right now are so volatile and then coupled with the 9.8s, I mean, it's a dangerous place.
Here's my 9.9 of Venom number 3. What do you have?
Yeah.
I got something better than that, but there you have it, guys. That is the list. That is 30, 60, 90. Tell me what you think about it. Do you like it? Are you surprised that Venom 3 sold for $4,200 at 9.9? I know I am. But would you have spent that kind of money? Let me know in the chat. Wow. I'm so perplexed by that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right, we've been an hour into the show, and the best part of the show hasn't even started yet, which we're gonna do now. Uh, before we do that, I need to remind everybody about the mystery boxes one more time. I got some mystery boxes that I'm selling. $60. The grand prize of the book is going to be Marvel Premiere number 28, Legion of Monsters cover. This is a cool cover. I got some great books that are going to be in the mystery boxes as well. So you're going to get your values worth at $60. And that's $60 shipped. That's happening there. Our next topic of discussion is going to be a fun topic of discussion. I do believe people love this more than anything else. And it was funny because this was the one that I wasn't sure I was going to do when I was doing the show. I was like, I want to do this, but I don't know if it fits. But now it seems to be the most popular one. You guys are loving the Jenny Frison creator spotlight. You guys are loving the Jim Lee spotlights. They're actually in the thousands of views, and they're getting a lot of traction. So I do expect the same thing for this one here. I asked you guys in a poll which famous painter you guys wanted to see. It started one way, and then it shifted to who I expected it to be.
I was so happy at first too.
Really,
I'm happy with all of them, but
we'll definitely get to him eventually. So, let's go ahead. It's time for Creator Spotlight. We're going to focus on a superstar painter by the name of Alex Ross. And that's what today's Creator Spotlight is going to be all about. First, before we start talking about Alex Ross, Shane, what's your thoughts on his work so far? The legacy he has left behind.
Oh,
it's not that he's dead. He's still doing stuff.
Yeah. He's another one of those artists, like the ones we've covered, like Jim Lee, like even Frison as a newer, like I call her newer compared to some of these ones we've been talking about. But Alex Ross is one of those people that when he's on a cover, you notice it. When I was going through my CLZ, I brought it up. I have about 213 Alex Ross covers, and every one of them I stop and look at because they're great. And you always look for those kind of different ones and everything. And the other beauty thing about Alex Ross is if you have a favorite character, almost certainly he's drawn it and you can find it and it looks amazing.
Absolutely. Nerdy Geek is saying, yes, the artist spotlights. Thank you so much, Nerdy Geek. And look at that. The spotlights are great. Well, thank you as well, JSS. Yeah, people are loving the spotlights. I'm checking the algorithm, checking the analytics for the spotlight videos, and people have been enjoying them. I'm so happy we're doing it. I'm trying my best to limit the amount of covers we're going to cover. It's hard when someone has, a portfolio of books that you just want to, shine a light on. Unfortunately, we can't always do that. So I had to narrow it down to about 25, and I cheated.
Yeah, I noticed that. I like how you did that too. It's very good.
I cheated. So we're not gonna get 25 covers. We're gonna get a little bit more than 25 covers, but it's gonna be about 25 slides or something like that. So before we do that, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the biography of Alex Ross. So Alex Ross shown artistic promise at the early age of 13 when he was creating original comics. At 23, Marvel hired him to illustrate Marvels in 1994. We'll talk more about that groundbreaking series that redefined superhero storytelling. Ross is celebrated for his realistic, fully painted works, including tributes to Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. His distinct style earned him multiple awards. Beyond comics, Ross has worked on projects like a limited edition Academy Award poster and the Yellow Submarine painting commissioned by Apple. Ross is often called the Norman Rockwell of comics, and Ross cites both Rockwell and Salvador Dali as inspirations. Alex Ross has become one of the most respected and influential comic book artists of all time. You can see more of his work by going to his website at alexrossart.com. Also, he does have also an Instagram as well at the Alex Ross Art. Woo! My goodness, this guy. Like I said, I remember seeing that Academy Awards poster and I knew it was an Alex Ross. That's how distinct his style is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, Alex Ross he uses mixed medium. So one of the things that I remember early in his career was what the tools he was utilizing. And I was in college at the time when he came out, and I had a chance to speak to him in an early, one of the conventions back then. And I asked him, I said, what kind of medium are you using? So he said he uses gouache paint. And if you know anything about gouache paint, it's a water-based paint, but it is extremely hard to do blendings with it. Like, it's hard to create gradients with it. So he uses gouache paint. He also utilizes airbrushing techniques. And he's a huge component of using models. If anybody's seen his work, you'll see that there's a lot of models in his work. And he usually has a model for a certain character for his work. And that's how he does the work. Another thing that makes Alex Ross so great to me personally is that he's also an interior artist, right? So someone him to be an interior artist is amazing. And if you ever had a chance to see his pencil work, it's also great.
It's unbelievable that you can look at a book like The Marvels or any of the other books that we're going to talk about that he does the interiors for, and every panel is amazing. It's just something to enjoy. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. So Black Spire says, Alex Ross is unbelievable. Nerdy Geek wants more covers. It's a lot of work. Trust me, it's a lot of work. Jenny is Chris the Comic Vet secret. Wink, wink. And I love this. Out of nowhere, Kraven the Hunter movie was awful. I'm sorry that it was awful. I did not go see it. I am not planning to go see it. I'll see it on the stream someday.
Yeah.
And Alex Ross' mother is also a painter. Well, there you go. So there's a fun fact there for you. All right, Kingdom Come. Yep, we're going to talk about those. All right, let's go into and dive into Alex Ross with his first known work, and that's The Terminator, The Burning Earth. This book came out in 1990 for Now Comics. Fair market value of this book is $9. 9.8 goes for $155. The last recorded sale of this book was $6. And it's his first cover art.
I'm going to go try to buy it right after this is done.
That's the best part about these spotlights. You get to find out what these books are worth, and you'll be surprised. There's some that have some value there. But like these key books where it's like his first cover art. And it's a Terminator. It's a Terminator book, which is cool.
And it looks cool as well.
Mm-hmm. Here's another surprise one for me that I actually thought was a huge surprise. Miracle Man, Apocrypha #3. This came out for Eclipse Comics in 1992. Another book that I want to say it's rare because I never seen this book. And we have a nice little homage in this cover. This book goes for about $9 fair market for a very fun. A 9.6 goes for $12.
Oh, I love it.
$12 for 9.6. The last recorded sale of this book was in September, and it was for $5. And this features interior art by Alex Ross. I didn't know about this book until this
No.
week.
Me either. You know, it reminds me of another one that I have that just as a recent one is the Immortal Thor cover he did, where she's ripping the first appearance of Thor up, ripping the comic up on the cover.
Yeah. $12.
I know.
$12. And then imagine getting a sign.
I know.
I may or may not be watching Roman books on eBay.
Oh, that's who's doing that.
The RoboCop books, man. I'm just curious to see if these shows are going to cause people to like really go hunt for books, and then we'll find books like RoboCop 2 in the trending 20. I'm going to take full credit for that if that happens. So,
For sure.
guys, go buy RoboCop 2 issue number 1 just for the hell of it. Just so you can have someone like Comic Thompson's. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. And then you can message them.
Yeah, it's like, it was me. I can't wait till those days come. Okay, let's take a look at the next book here on our list, and that is Hellraiser number 17. This book came out in 1992 from Marvel Epic line. This book has a fair market value of $13, very fine, and $75 for a 9.8. The last recorded sale was not that long ago on November 22nd for $13, and this is his first cover art on Marvel Comics.
I'm kicking myself on this one because I'm a huge Clive Barker fan. I have most of his comics, and I checked this because I know I have this series, and I stopped getting it at number 6.
Oh, now you're beating yourself over. It's like, you could probably still collect the whole series, and
Yeah.
In 92, Clive Barker was like on the top of this game. I remember that.
Yeah.
So I could understand why these books were hot. And looking at that cover, not much has changed, man.
No.
Not much has changed. His style is still recognizable. He still has that like shiny, that's the airbrushing that comes along with his imagery. It's a cool cover.
Yep, for sure.
Marvel Age 129. This one came out in 1993. This is fair market value of $7. 9.8s go for about $69. So now we're starting to see a little bit of value here. However, a last recorded sale of this book was at $3, and this happened November 21st. This does feature interior illustrations of Black Panther by Alex Ross.
Very cool interior pinup as well.
So let's take a look at that pinup. Looks familiar?
Oh, yeah, classic.
All right. If you look at the corner, you can see here Black Panther as rendered by Alex Ross of Marvels. So this book was the precursor to the next book we're going to talk about, and that is his breakout performance in Marvels. Marvels number 1, 1994 came out. It was groundbreaking. It was done by him and writer Kurt Busiek. I remember reading this story. This was an amazing story. Again, like we talked about, it was set in the 60s at the time where all Marvel characters were really populating, and it's telling the story through a photojournalist, which we'll talk more about that because there's a common theme to Alex Ross storytelling. As an artist, as a plotter, he usually has a writer attached to it, but he's definitely a plotter. He's that kind of artist that he's actually involved in the process as opposed to just drawing works. He's part of that thinking process. This book has a fair market value of $6. A 9.8 goes for about $52. Last recorded sales is $6 of this book, and that was just recent. And again, he does the interior work as well as the covers. The covers are done in acetate, so the word Marvels is done in this plastic acetate, and when you open it up, it's really a virgin variant.
Yeah. These are books that I missed when they came out, and I'm always kind of watching for like the complete setup to pick up. Just amazing.
Yeah. I happen to have all 4 issues of this book. I'm so happy to have them. It is there. Each book is pretty thick, so it's not your typical 22 pages. They're about 48 pages each, so they are thicker books. They maintain their conditioning because of the acetate. I would say they keep it, nice and prestige. This is the first cover with the Human Torch. That's the original Human Torch that was an android. And we also have some really cool covers. You got one of Angel, another one of Silver Surfer. But the one that's probably the most iconic has to be issue number 4, where Spider-Man's eye and that sinister Green Goblin with Gwen.
And, it's such a small part of it, but the detail, you don't ever forget that cover. It's amazing. I love that cover.
Literally, right? Spider-Man, amazing.
Yeah.
It's a great cover. So this is the book that really put Alex Ross in the map. Like, after this book came out, everybody wanted to work with him.
Yeah.
And the next group that did was DC Comics. And this is again another sleeper. The Spectre 22 came out in 1994. Fair market value of $7, 9.4. We talked about another book earlier. $10.
Another one I'm kicking myself for because I love the Spectre. And again, I'm missing certain issues, and this is one of them. Like, I have all around this one, but I don't have this one.
Right.
I'm going to be looking for it on Wednesday.
$9 fair market for a Fairy Fine was sold in December 9th. This is the first published DC art by Alex Ross that features the Spectre and the backside of Superman.
Yeah.
Mullet Superman, no less.
So you got to say it's his first Superman art too.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I would add that myself to CLZ.
I know, right? It's like first Superman, Alex Ross Superman. All right. Astro City #1. This is an Image comic. Came out in 1995 with Kurt Busiek. And the fair market value of this book is $16. Very fine. 9.8 goes about $75. The last recorded sales of this book was $23 near mint. This was the first published cover art of Alex Ross for Image Comics. The significance of this book has everything to do with his collaboration with Kurt Busiek, as well as, I believe it's Brent Anderson, who is the artist who does the interior work, because they will work together in the future for other books. So Alex Ross does have a stake in this book, even though this book is a Kurt Busiek book.
This one is a total, I missed this one completely. That's for sure.
I do recall when it came out, back in 95 when it came out, there was buzz behind the book because it had this golden age feel to it. The character you've seen right there, his name is the Samaritan. And it's kind of like a world of superheroes. So it's very DC golden age. And that they were paying homage to golden age like characters. Something that Alex Ross loves. He loves golden age characters. We'll see that again when we look at other books in this list. And yeah, like Busiek raised the bar with Astro. Yeah, Astro City is actually a really good read. There's some really cool characters that came out of Astro City. So I'm with Phil on that one. But again, another book that's a little more valuable than the other ones, but it's still relatively low in cost. Here's a surprise. Indiana Jones and Sargasso Pirates #1. This came out back in 1995 for Dark Horse Comics. The fair market value of this book is $8. There are no slabs recorded as sold, and the last recorded sale was $8, and that was recent. That was actually this week that this book sold, and it features Alex Ross doing Indiana Jones.
Another one, like Indiana Jones, super popular, obviously, and people are always going to be looking for these covers, and this is a great cover to try to seek out, and it doesn't cost you anything. It's amazing. I love the research into this. It's great.
Yeah, it's so much fun looking at these books. Like, oh, look, he did an Indiana Jones book, and he did the cover for the series. So this is a limited series, and he did all the covers. So like RoboCop.
Yeah. Well, and then going back to the Terminator, his first cover work, he just did the cover for the new Terminator that just came out, issue 1. He did a cover for that as well.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the creme of the creme, as they would say, right? The the best of the best. Kingdom Come. This book came out in 1996 for DC Comics. Fair market value of this book is $11. $189 for 9.8. The last recorded sales $5 for this book. All right. It is an Elseworlds classic where him and Mark Waid work together for this book and is referred to by many as the greatest Elseworlds story. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, a friend of mine has this book, and whenever we talked about comics, it always goes back to this book because he doesn't buy anything else. He owns Kingdom Come, and he's tried to read other books, and he just like it's not as good as Kingdom Come. And
that's the bar.
Kind of the mark that this book has done. It's amazing.
Yeah, it falls on the echelon of being greatest stories ever told in comics, right? So you have Watchmen as a story that's one of the greatest stories. Dark Knight Returns, Sandman, the story behind Sandman. All those books are considered the greatest of the genre. This falls with that. And what's interesting to know is how much credit Alex Ross actually gets for this book. Mark Waid is the writer, and he gets all the credit. He gets as much credit as Alex Ross does. But the fact that Alex Ross also gets credit for this book, not just for the art, but for the storytelling behind this book.
Yeah, and this is another one of those comics the whole, like when you get the graphic novel, it's one of those ones that you can give to someone that doesn't read comics. Watchmen is dense. There's a lot to it. Same thing with like V for Vendetta and that type of book. But this one, you can give it to them, and everybody, whether you read comics or not, appreciates really good art. And that's going to hook them right away.
Yeah, exactly. And this book, as well as Marvel's, was an entry-level book for Alex Ross. This book happened because of Marvel's.
Yeah.
It really did. DC said, we want you to do what you did in Marvel's. We're going to, here's Mark Waid. You guys think of a story. And in Marvel's, they went to the past. For Kingdom Come, they went to the future. And it's something that's going to happen again with Alex Ross. This book has maintained. I can't wait to see a movie version of this book. I want to see this done somehow.
Do you think that would be better in live action, or if they could somehow animate it in his style?
I would love to see an animated version of this book with an adaptation of his style. I don't think there'll be, but then again, we have the technology now to do it. And I don't think it'll be that hard. I just think it's going to look awkward. But if you did it in the style of a Fleischer, like the old classic Superman cartoons, I think that will be amazing.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of time till this gets made. It's so good.
Mm-hmm. Also, I have to mention it. There is a Kickstarter campaign that was launched. They're still collecting, even though they've reached their goal. And for the making of Kingdom Come, which is a documentary that I do plan on seeing very soon, it's you could, if you make a Kickstarter if you go to the Kickstarter campaign, you could have access to the stream already to watch it. It will be released in near future. I believe in March it's supposed to be released.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. So be on the lookout for Kingdom Come, the documentary of this book. But again, this is a classic, guys. Mm-hmm. Kingdom Come is a book, all-time collector's. Yeah, I agree. It's believe it or not, it's right there, and it's next to the Watchmen for me.
Yeah, that's where mine is. It's up on my shelf.
Yeah, I now have 3 copies of RoboCop #2. Nerdy Geek, send me a copy. I love it. I love what I did to people. Yes, this is absolutely a must read. Kingdom Come. You know what? I got to show it to you. This is issue 1. but you got to see the other issues. Issue 2, issue 3, and that last issue. Man, what is it with Alex Ross and these issue number 4 covers?
Yeah.
To the
Amazing.
point, it is so popular that Superman logo is now being featured in the Superman movie. So is James Gunn trying to tell us something?
Hopefully, Alex Ross is getting a little bit of royalties for that.
We hope so. You never know, right? Mm-hmm. Kingdom Come, all-time classic. If you haven't read it, read it. Our next book here is a book I just wanted to kind of like throw it out there because I thought it was really cool cover. And this is Batman Legends of the Dark Knight issue 100. This came out back in 1997 for DC. This book has a fair market value of $11. There are no reported sales for slabs. The book last sold for $9. It's just a really cool early cover. Today, Alex Ross is known for doing hundreds of covers. This was one of the early ones, and what I like about this one is just seeing him do Robin.
Yeah,
and I thought that was really cool. So there was no real reason why I picked this one other than, you know what, it's a nice little palate cleanser to what we're gonna talk about.
Yeah, my first Alex Ross cover, when I go back, my earliest one that I have is 10 years after this one, just about. It's Batman 676, which is another really cool looking Batman cover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at our next one. Another sleeper. This is US. It's recorded in cover price as Uncle Sam, but the actual title of the book is called US. To the point that I went to cover price and I went in, hey, you need this book in this list. And then afterwards I found it under Uncle Sam. This book came out in 1997. This is a DC Vertical comic book. This fair market value of this book is $18. No recorded slabs sold. The last recorded sale of this book is $3. Guys, this is an Eisner Award winning story by Alex Ross and Steve Darnell about this homeless man who is starting to get visions of him being Uncle Sam. It's 2 issues. I remember when it came out in 97. I do recall it. And this was Alex Ross. It was a pet project of his, of course. Pretty much he said, hey, I want to do this. I want to take Uncle Sam, which is a Golden Age character in comics as well as, you know, the war and all that. And they did it. It didn't really perform well, but it won an award.
Yeah, I've never seen this book before. Seeing this slide. It's another, like you said, another sleeper. My only experience with Uncle Sam was a small little DC digest I had when I was like 10 years old.
Yeah. This is a book that, again, not a lot of people really go out for the hunt on it because it's not featuring a major superhero. It's not Kingdom Come. But it's worth noting it is interior work by Alex Ross, which as of today is very rare.
Yeah.
So, all right, our next book is a special one, and that's Earth X Special Edition. This book came out in 1997 from Marvel Comics / Wizard Magazine. I'll explain that in a minute. Fair market value of this book is $5. No recorded slabs. The recorded sales of this book is $8. What makes this book significant is it is similar to Kingdom Come. This is Alex Ross' take on a possible dystopian future for the Marvel Universe. This is Alex Ross' answer of Kingdom Come for Marvel. So so let me tell you a little bit about the story. Wizard Magazine, which was hugely popular at this time, they approached Alex Ross and they asked Alex, hey, can you create what you did in Kingdom Come, but with Marvel characters? So for fun, this was just for fun. This wasn't planned out, but for fun, he created all these characters. So you had these little bios and kind of like we talked about the Marvel Universe Index last week. Similar, he did that for a whole bunch of different characters. Like, what would be his take with Marvel characters in the future. He did this amazing Captain America. And, Spider-Man was a little over. Peter Parker was overweight, and Logan was with Jean Grey. All this good stuff that was going on at this time. It was so popular and so well received that Marvel said, let's make this into a book. All right.
That's awesome. And look at the price you can get it at.
And this is a hard book to pick up because this was an addendum to a Wizard magazine comic. This wasn't a book that you could just pick up at the shop. You had to buy the Wizard comic for it. So the fact that it's going for about $8 is kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
Because it is a bit of a rare book. I have a copy, and my copy is not that great looking. It's very thin. It's just several pages, but it's really cool. The concepts are great. We get to see it formulate in the future.
Right.
Yeah. And I see here Cap looks like Stone Cold Steve. Yeah, he does. In fact, he looks more like Bruce Willis.
Yeah, he does. You're right.
Right? So he looks more like Bruce Willis to me. Okay. Next book is Squadron Supreme. This is the trade paperback. Another book that has some significance in the sense that this book is not a comic book. It's not your traditional comic book. It is a trade paperback. It came out in 1997. This is a collection of issue 1 through 12 of the original Squadron Supreme. And it was last recorded sale was $70, which also makes it the fair market value of this book. What's important about this book, and it has to be the first printing, it's not any other printing. The first printing in accordance with the writer of Squadron Supreme, Mark Gruwall, who passed away. His wishes were that his cremated ashes were mixed in the ink in the first printing of this trade paperback. So if you have a copy of the first printing of Squadron Supreme trade paperback, which looks like this, and the cover is done by Alex Ross, then you have some of the ashes of Mark Gruwall. I don't know how I feel about that personally.
Just when you thought you could sleep at night.
But it's a nice little gesture. It was nice wishes. That's how much the story meant to him. But
yeah,
but Alex Ross did provide the cover for it.
And that they honored that is pretty interesting too.
Mm-hmm. It's not the first time they've done things like this. There's a famous thing where Kiss used their blood and they put it in the ink of the book alongside Stan Lee.
Yeah.
So it is. Squadron Supreme is amazing. It's kind of like, not to the same extent, but it is Marvel's answers to Watchmen in a weird way. Maybe not to that extreme level, but Marvel's answer to the Watchmen. But it's more a take on what if DC characters were in the Marvel universe, which is really a take on the Justice League more than anything. Superman Forever #1 back in 1998. This book has a fair market value of $9. 9.8 goes for $198. That's a little off to me personally. Last recorded sale is $6. This features an iconic Superman cover done by Alex Ross. The significance, more importantly, is that this marks the return of our classic Superman. Before this, he was donning the electric blue uniform. So this was him returning to his classic duds. But again, another classic cover.
Look, those numbers, watch for this one in minty shape. I mean, that's a huge markup for a 9.8 if you can find it. The black would be tough to get, but
yeah, the $9 for near mint. Come on, those numbers. I wouldn't buy a 9.8 at $198 when I could just buy it $9 for a near mint and just bet on it.
Yeah, grade it myself.
Yep. Here's another really cool one that Alex Ross did. Again, another rare interior work that was done by Alex Ross. So Alex Ross, as well as Paul Dini, Paul Dini, who's known for being mostly the writer behind Batman the Animated Series and pretty much a lot of the animated films, the animated cartoons that followed. They worked hand in hand to create these Treasury Edition books of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, all these characters. This is the first of that series, and the fair market value of this book goes for about $20. There are no slabs for this book that's been recorded. As far as sales go, the last recorded sale of this book was that $20, and it was recently done. This is a really cool series. Again, it's not like groundbreaking work. It's just all it is Alex Ross doing interior work.
Yeah,
and that's the importance. So there's Superman Peace on Earth is the first one. You also have Batman War on Crime, Shazam Power of Hope, Wonder Woman Spirit of Truth, as well as Justice League JLA Liberty and Justice. So these are all Treasury editions. I do have a copy here. Let me see if I can pull one up so you guys can see it. This is it. Look at the size of this thing. It covers my head.
Mm-hmm. But very cool.
The interior work is so good on this book. Yeah. It's hard to, look the size of this book. Look at the size of this thing, But this is such a cool book. I have the Batman one as well. They're not as expensive.
That's the thing. You can pick up a book like that and it looks amazing, and it's not that much.
No, it's not that. It's hard because it's so large, So next book, I mentioned this earlier. Earth X Zero. It started with issue 0. This book is going for $3 at 8.5. $10 was last recorded. It sold for $3 earlier this year. Earlier this month, I'm saying. And it's the first series of a trilogy of books for a future of Marvel Universe. In this universe, everything that lives has been mutated by the Terrigen Mist. So what if a world where everybody becomes an Inhuman?
Another book that I didn't know. I remember seeing the title, but didn't know his involvement in it. And look at the prices you can pick it up for.
So what he was doing, he did the covers for, it started with Earth X, then it went to Universe X, and then it ended with Paradise X. And that's the series. One thing that's important to note within that, there is a book that probably has the most value out of all of them, which is Universe X, I believe is issue number 9, which features the Silver Surfers with an S. And that is the book that people have been hunting down. I don't think I put it on this list, but I wanted to note it because I want to feature more about Alex Ross rather than spec books in this way. But look out for that book. That's probably the heater of this
right,
series.
Because it's got both Silver Surfer and the female version of Silver Surfer on it. I remember that cover now.
Yeah. So another big book, Batman Harley Quinn. This came out back in 1999. This is probably one of the most expensive books of his lot. Fair market value of this book is $135. Fine. 9.8 sells for $423. In fact, the 9.8 sold for $406 late November. This is Harley Quinn in the main DCU.
Yeah, if you're hunting Harley Quinn appearances, you're trying to find this book.
I sold this book about a year ago. I have it. And I sold it for a pretty good price. And part of me is kind of upset now. Seller's remorse, as they say. So good book. Really fun book. And here's another one that's pretty fun. That's good to pick up. This is a hardbound book. Wizard Millennium, Alex Ross, updated and expanded number 1. This came out for Wizard in 2003. Why is this in this list? It's Alex Ross paying homage to Superman and Spider-Man. That's why I put it.
Yeah.
Right?
I looked this up, and you can find this pretty easy on eBay as well.
Yeah, it's a hardcover. I also have that book here. I have it right there somewhere. But I also have a copy of that book. And I love looking at it. Okay. Space Ghost number 1. Another phenomenal cover. Super cheap. 2005 Space Ghost #1, $7, very fine. 9.8 are averaging at $29 for a Space Ghost.
Yeah.
Just an iconic image. $7. How can you go wrong?
You can't go wrong.
Mm-hmm. I mentioned this earlier. Project Superpowers #1. This was a pet project of Alex Ross, where he took some, no longer in existence Golden Age characters, and he decided he wanted to make stories with them. So he was able to get the rights for many of these characters, like the Green Llama and popular Black Terra. He's actually probably one of the most popular characters of the bunch, and he was able to do stories with him. So he reimaged them for modern day audience. They went fair. They didn't sell as hotcakes because no one really knew about these characters, but it's just a cool little thing that Alex Ross does, where he likes to pay homage to classic Golden Age characters. $3, another book you could probably find it anywhere.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like, you can't go wrong again with the covers. It's just something that over time I think will become more appreciated.
Yeah, especially if you get something like a Black Terra story, because Black Terra is one of those characters that I can see return someday. Like somebody will like, oh, let's just turn this into a movie of some kind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here's another fun one. This is homage to Star Wars #1. This is the 1 in 50 variant that came out in 2015. This book has a fair market value of $18. 9.6 is going for $65. Last recorded sale happened in September for $18. This is Star Wars returning to Marvel because of the Disney acquisition, and Alex Ross provided a variant cover for this book.
Just look at again, another example of ratios, $18 for a 1 in 50.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good price.
Yeah, because the ratio of 1 in 50 should cost $50 at least, right? Mm-hmm. But I thought it was cool to see him doing an homage to Star Wars #1.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now we're gonna go into Secret Wars, and there's a book coming. 2015 Marvel Comics. This book is going for $9, $62 and 9.8. Last recorded sale of this book is $13. The significance: this is the first appearance of God Emperor Doom. I put this book here because this is a book that is inexpensive, but people will be hunting it in due time.
Yep. If you're not hunting it already and you hunt for movie books, you should be buying this now.
It's amazing. This book's almost 10 years old now.
Yeah, I know. It's
wow.
So surprising.
So you have this one. And if you remember this one, issue number 5, this is going for now $15. 9.8 of this book is $83. The last recorded sale was $10. And of course, it's because it was featured as a little Easter egg in Deadpool and Wolverine.
It is so hard to see that book in that movie. Like, you got to go frame by frame. It's not there long.
And it didn't go anywhere afterwards, right?
Yeah.
I still think it's a cool cover, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a very cool cover.
So, and finally, the timeless covers. I am not going to give you how much they're worth because we are talking about a lot of books.
Yeah.
But the first wave of timeless books started in 2020, and what they are is they're just pinups. They're certain pinups with a white background, and Alex Ross decided to start with 35 characters for the first wave, which were all heroes. And I believe Dr. Doom was just one of them. Here's some of the way they look. So Namor was the first one. You got a really cool Storm. What was interesting about what I was finding out about these books were that some of them were standard books that were just easily accessible, but there were some variants that came along with them as well. That's where it gets a little hard. The variants was like exclusive variants. So you had to go through a dealer to get them. I love the Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
She-Hulk, Human Torch, Black Widow, Doctor Strange. Look at that. Look at that Thing, man. That's how Thing looks like in real life. That's how he will look. There's that the Wolverine. I always like the Wolverine one as well. His Wolverine was great. His Spider-Man's great. His Punisher, man, love his Punisher.
What do you? What if you had to do a word bubble for Spider-Man? What would he be saying?
Uh, man, Thor's hammer's heavy.
That's good. That's good.
Well, I immediately saw Thor underneath it. That's why
Yeah.
I thought of it. So it's really cool because he did Phoenix here, and in the next wave he does Dark Phoenix.
Yeah.
So another thing that's important to note with these books is that there's also sketch variants. So the sketch variants are not necessarily the sketch of this image. Excuse me. It's the preliminary sketch that will eventually become the image. So they're not the same image.
The Scarlet Witch one is one to watch out for because was when Strange Academy was so hot, and that one has quite a bit of value.
Yeah, and as you can see, some of these, the Captain America one was a variant. I believe Cyclops was a variant as well. Okay, the second wave featured villains, and it was really to commemorate the 60th anniversary of the Avengers. It started with Green Goblin, and there you have Green Goblin, the Mystique, Ultron, Black Cat, Mephisto. There's the Dark Phoenix there, Kang. I love his love for, Golden Age and Silver Age, because these are all the Silver Age versions of these characters, right? Juggernaut looks fierce.
Yeah.
Right. White Queen, Elektra. Look at the Mandarin.
Yeah.
I guarantee you most people didn't know that was him.
Yeah, I know. I didn't when I think I have that one.
Yeah. Mysterio, MODOK, Hela, the Dr. Octopus. Dr. Octopus one is Spider-Man issue number 8. 7. It's issue number 7, which is the first appearance of Spider-Boy. This one is not as expensive, but still keep in mind that book is the first appearance of Spider-Boy as well.
If you're looking for, I don't know if you saw this when you're going through the covers, but there's a volume of Fantastic Four where the first 4 issues were black and white covers of the Fantastic Four by Alex Ross. And if you like the Thing one, it's more of a full body one that's there. They're all really cool looking covers.
Cool. Here's the other ones here. That Kingpin, Thanos. I like Thanos because it's a Warlock comic book. There's Doctor Doom, Electro. Look at that mug on Apocalypse, man. He looks pissed.
Yeah. Kingpin as well. That's a good Kingpin one.
That's definitely a good Kingpin. All right, so got some more to Loki. Again, he likes drawing the classic looks. I noticed how Loki and their mom will have the same pose.
Yeah.
All right. Super Skrull, the leader, the Galactus one. I always like the Galactus one.
Yeah. Love that one too. That was Avengers Assemble Omega. That one.
And finally, last book on this pack is Fantastic Four Full Circle. This is a hardbound book as well. This book came out in 2022. I'm amazed that it's already been that long since this book came out. It has a fair market value of $20. Last sold of this book was actually $13.20. I don't know why I have an asterisk. I gotta fix this. Here I am saying, I got everything fixed. I didn't look into it. $13.20 is the book. It's a great book. It is an amazing book. He kind of changed his style a little bit with the colors. So he was trying to channel like an Inner Steranko style to it, where more Kirby-esque, because he does have, a love and affinity for, like I said, the Silver Age and the Golden Age. This book is beautiful.
I've had this in my hand so many times, Izzy, and now you've clinched it for me. I'm just going to buy it. Like every time I pick it up and I look at it, it's because it's sealed, so you can't see the inside. And I'm like, I don't know. Yeah.
There it is.
I'm just going to have to buy it.
Just
Wednesday's going to be a big day.
When you look at the colors of this book, it is breathtaking. That's how beautiful. Again, this is him changing his style. He modified his style to have different shades of colors. So when you read it, it transports you to a different place. I'll say it is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful book.
I'm in.
And there you have it, guys. The creator spotlight for Alex Ross. We went pretty long. People are coming and going in the channel, but you'll get to see it again. When they debuts on either Friday or Saturday or something like that. Tell me what you think about this list. Did I miss some books? Of course I missed some books. Alex Ross has a lot of books. However, I wanted to showcase certain books, like the 3 books that you see there. They're classics as well. Go hunt them out. Go check it out. You can find a lot of good Alex Ross books at really good prices.
Yeah.
Again, it's one of those things where it's like these creators, their books are not getting that same attention that a first appearance would or something like that.
Yeah.
Where
And
they should.
It was really, you got a lot of good covers in there too. So that was good as well. Like getting to see all those timeless ones. I know that I'm like other people. Yeah, I love looking at those. So good.
Yeah. Las Cruces, I agree. All great covers because that's Alex Ross. All right. Whew. Great spotlights. Thank you so much, Nerdy Geek. Oh my goodness. 2 hours. We've been 2 hours in here. I thought we were going to go a lot faster this time around. Ugh. We still got one more thing to do, right? We're going to have to move a little quicker here. It's time for new comics. I know my dinner's getting ready. So,
Yeah.
But we'll definitely go into it in the show here. Let's find out which books you should pick up for this week at Fresh Picks.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Fresh Picks. This week's new comic book releases for December 18th, 2024. It's a big week, and part of the reason why it's a big week is because next week is Christmas. And Christmas falls on Wednesday. So I don't know what's going to be the situation. I was talking to a retailer today, and I said, when's books going to come out? They're coming out Tuesday or they're coming out Thursday?
So I talked to my store and they say they heard from, this is in Canada, by the way, so take that with a grain of salt. They said they heard from their retailers, their distributors, it's Thursday.
So Thursday is going to be new comic book day next week?
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully I'll get my books on Tuesday, which I normally do anyway. Let's take a look at the books for this week. All right. But before we do that, we got to give love to our boys at Superior Stands. These are great stands that you could put your comic books, you could put your slabs, you can put them on display. I have them up here already, so you can see there. And also, shout out to Comic Capsule. Comic Capsule have some of my books, they're not slabbed yet, so Comic Capsule does the job for me and protects my books. But Superior Stands are what I use when I want to display my books. They're good, they're sturdy, they're compact, they have magnets on the side. Go check them out. Use the QR code, and I get a nice little commission off of it. So, if you want to buy a good stand, buy it from Superior Stand. You probably get a little discount when you go along with it. So, thanks a lot, guys, for that one. As far as our rundown goes, like I said, it's a big week. 122 comics. You think you got enough money for all those books?
Somehow it happens every week.
Well, there's 515 variants.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of variants. That's a big chunk of money. All right, 24 new #1 titles with 14 potential new keys, 9 of which includes first appearances. And again, there's an asterisk there because we don't know what we don't know just yet. Okay. As far as the breakdown goes, Marvel has 17 titles with 70 variants. DC has 19 titles. The rare occasion where DC has more books than Marvel. That doesn't normally happen.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often.
All right. So DC has 19 titles with 83 variants. Image is with Marvel with 17 with 65 variants. Boom Studios has 5 comic books with 32 variants. Isn't that nice? IDW also has 5 comics with 24 variants. Dark Horse has 12 comics with 23 variants. It's a little more normal. But the king of all variants, Dynamite, has 6 comics with 94 variants.
I hope you like the Thundercats.
Holy my goodness. All right. Mad Cave Studios has 4 comics with 5 variants. Titan Comics has 3 comics with 20 variants. That's a lot too. From the indie groups, we have 34 titles and 99 variants across all the indie comic books. Wow. It's a big week.
Yeah.
So, keys to watch this week. I'm going to start with New Gods. I think this is going to be the book of the week. That's my personal opinion.
I wasn't actually planning on picking up that book, actually, but now I'm thinking I'll flip through it and check it out.
So the key significance of this book is, first of all, it's a number 1. So we're starting off. New Gods are getting a title. It's going to be written by Ram V.
Yeah.
That's important to know.
I like it.
Yeah. And it features the first appearance of a new god as a child. It says here, first appearance of a new god as a child who is referred to as the last avatar. Oh, excuse me. And the first appearance of Olivia Free, the infant child of Mr. Miracle and Big Barda. So there's your keys right there. Also important to note, this is taking place after Darkseid does what he does and creates the absolute universe. So the reason why I believe this is going to be the book of the week has everything to do is this is the connecting branch between the DC universe and the absolute universe. And that's why this book is definitely one you should pick up.
And not a lot of people are going to realize that. So it probably doesn't have as big of a print run as all the absolute books.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. The first 2 books are their cover A and cover B. The third book is the 1 in 25, which I didn't get the name of the artist behind it, but the 1 in 25, you could see the 2 different worlds as well in that book. That might be a hot book for next week. We might see that book in the list. So
yeah,
big deal. Another book that I think could be a sleeper, even though I'm not really banking it the same way I am for New Gods, is the TVA number 1. This featured the first appearance of Hunter B-15 in a comic book. And Hunter, if you know who that is, she was in the MCU. So there is something to be said about that. It also features the appearance of a Gambit variant. That should be interesting.
Yeah.
First appearance of Sir Seconds and Doc Clock, which you can center there. It's also in that Christmas tree issue, which is just, companions to Miss Minutes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They won't be as good as Jeff.
No, in no way. And Miss Minutes there's only one Miss Minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But again, just because it's Hunter B-15, there are people that want to complete their MCU characters. So I see people picking this book up. If Hunter B-15 becomes more utilized in the future, which they may or may not use, I could see this book having some kind of traction, even though I think it'll just be a minor B-list kind of comic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. G.I. Joe number 2. This comes out this week. Wow, it's only issue 2. I feel like we should be in multiple issues.
I know.
All right. But there's too many covers to show you, so I just decided to show you these 3. This will feature a first appearance of the Valkyries, which is an elite Cobra strike team comprised of females. When I was in New York Comic Con, they talked a little bit about the Valkyries. I will say Joshua Williams is very excited to show us what he did with the Valkyries.
That'll be good, and you can always watch out as well for the 1 in 10 Nakayama, because it's a connecting one if you collect those connecting covers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Of course, we got to talk about Absolute Batman, because that comes out this week, and it's the continuation of the origin of Absolute Batman. So we don't know anything other than that for this book. If it's anything like issue 1 and issue 2, this is going to be a sellout.
Look at that Delato cover in the middle.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's gonna sell out. I'm guaranteeing you this is gonna sell out. Now, I do say that with a grain of salt because I do believe there's gonna be tons of editions, right? Tons of printings. This book is not gonna be short of availability. But
I know my shop ordered at least 50 because they have the one in 50 and the one in 25 available. So
yeah, so they are gonna sell them. So pick it up just because. Okay. Here's it. Oh, look, I messed up here. I gotta fix that in post. So ignore the bottom, guys. Helverine #1. This is the premiere issue of the Helverine. It's an ongoing series, so he's gonna continue. I'm looking at that Dave Johnson cover in the center.
Yeah,
that
looks
that's
good.
The one I picked. I had that in FOC, so I know I have it. It's already mine. So I like these covers. There's also the Mark Bagley one, which is that third one that you see there. That's really cool.
Yep, that's a nice one too.
So if you like Helverine, this is going to be his ongoing series. So go pick that up. Okay. Challengers of the Unknown. Look at it. I write Challengers of the Unknown, but I put issue 3. This is issue #1. Oh, God. You see what happens? I think I have it and I don't. Challengers of the Unknown #1. This is the premiere issue of a 5-issue limited series, but it's also going to be featuring, alongside the Challengers of the Unknown, it's going to be featuring the Justice League. Predominantly, it's going to feature Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Again, like New Gods, I do believe this is going to tie some knots with the Absolute Universe.
Yeah, maybe have to pick up that one too. That was another one that when I saw it in the FOC, I was like, I'll pass. I'm trying to cut down,
Yeah. And looking at your stack, I think you should. But the center book that you see there is actually a Dan Mora cover, which that's the one I ordered.
Nice cover.
I love Dan Mora, so I can't argue with that. I'll pick it up just because there's a possibility. Okay. Next issue here. This is just a fun one. Ultimate Spider-Man issue #12. Who doesn't love Christmas Spidey?
Right. I saw that cover and I'm like, yeah, I'll be buying that for sure.
But this marks a full year of Ultimate Spider-Man comic books, which is pretty cool. That the momentum has died down a little bit. People still love Ultimate Spider-Man, but we're 1 year into it, and it's still, I would say, it's still one of the best Spider-Man titles in Marvel Comics.
Now, I will say that I don't know if you read this. I'm not going to say anything about it because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But if you usually pick up this issue, it might be worth picking up an extra copy of cover A because of something that's going to happen in this issue.
Interesting. You heard it here, guys. Potential spec alert. But this book will also feature some first appearances. Gail Watson and Anna Watson and Madeline Watson. So Mary Jane's siblings are showing up in this book. So there you have it. Those are your first appearances for this book. Okay. This one I'm definitely picking up. I forgot it was coming out, and this is the Rockefellers #2. I enjoyed the first issue.
It was really good. It was really good.
And what's important about this one, it's going to feature a splash page that reveals the Ghost Machine universe. And we're going to find out that there's 4 realities in the Ghost Machine universe, each with its own canon. So that's the significance behind it. That's the spec behind it. It's really just a fun read.
And the Ghost Machine has not had a misstep yet. Every book is amazing. The physical quality of the books is far superior to most other publishers right now.
Yeah. Here's another one that I think's gonna be a little bit of I'm throwing it as a potential spec, but I'm throwing it only because you have a writer in Garth Ennis, and then you have werewolves, vampires, zombies, and more with Freddy the Fix #1. This is going. The only thing that I think could hurt this book is that it's not your traditional comic size. So this is going to be more of the larger format books, but I can see this being some late spec
Yeah.
in this book.
From that description alone, if my store has it, I'll buy it.
Yeah, and it's Garth Ennis, so it's going to be ultraviolet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And funny, because
Right.
you're talking about the writer of The Boys, the guy who practically reinvented the Punisher to how we know him today. What's Preacher? I could just keep going on with Garth Ennis. Right? So check that one out if you have the time to buy it, pick it up. All right, some eye-catching variants that we have here. What do you think about this Mark Spears book? Action Comics 1080.
We're on the Mark Spears bullet train right now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just going to keep on going, I think. So I think it's going to be a hot cover. People are going to be buying it.
Yeah. This is a cover. I think it's a cover B, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So it is cover price. So that's the nice part about this book.
Yeah.
All right. So there's that one. There's a Batman Superman World's Finest 34, which is the Vasco George V 1 in 25. I just think that's a cool cover.
Yeah.
And back to the Catwoman, man. Catwoman 71 Frank Choa. What am I gonna say other than that's awesome?
Yeah, that's a great cover.
All right, I picked up 70. I picked up 70, which is very similar to this one. Yeah, I'll probably pick up 71. Why not? Deadpool #9, the Jessica Fong cover. That's a book to pick up because it does feature what does she go by now? Dead Girl or Deadpool Girl? I don't know what she goes by.
I call her Daughter Pool.
Daughter Pool?
Yeah. Just you heard it here first.
Okay. I don't think that's gonna catch on though.
No?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of hard because you can't call a she pool because that exists, right?
Can't call a kid pool.
Lady Deadpool. You can't call Teen Deadpool?
Teen pool?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
Guys, you tell me what we should call her. Let me know in the chat what we're gonna call her. So I think that's a pretty cool cover. Immortal Thor #18, the Russell Donovan anniversary issue. That's why this exists. I think it's gorgeous. It's a beautiful cover of Thor. Do not call her Lady Thor. And Sentinel #3, the Cal Ewing cover of Magneto in a throne made out of a Sentinel hand.
You've got me. I'll buy it.
Wait up. So, according to Joe, she's Deadpool. Joe, you know better than that.
Well, who's Deadpool then? Because Deadpool's there too.
Yeah, you know better than that. We don't do that. It's like calling Miles Morales Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? All right. And then we got some. These are your favorites, man. Ji-Hunk Lee on Ultimate Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, and Psylocke.
Yeah.
I love the backgrounds, how they work. They kind of work together with the
Yeah,
three books.
I didn't notice that until they were all together, but you're right.
Mm-hmm.
They're great covers.
Yeah.
And I'll be getting all three of those.
And you'll be getting all three. The one in the center is a 1 in 25 for Wonder Woman 16.
Oh, no. I might not get that one then.
And the Psylocke, as well as the Ultimate Spider-Man, both of them have version variants.
Yes.
To them. So you could get the trade dress one. And I think the trade dress on these are fine. The Wonder Woman one is a 1 in 25. I'm okay with them. I'm not crazy about them. They're just standard covers. But the Mary Jane pose is very interesting to me. I kind of like that one a little bit more than the other two.
Yeah, I do like the Wonder Woman one just because it's, uh, it's got a little bit of action to it for sure with the lasso. It's cool.
Yeah.
The colors are cool.
And we got some more good stuff. We got not Transformers. Oh, I forgot to change the name. Transformers. This is Transformers #1. This is the David Nakayama. Transformers #1, the 10th
10
printing.
10 printing.
All right. So there's tons of covers for that book. Oh,
yeah.
So yeah, you have that one. You have Ultimate Spider-Man #12. This is the Patrick Gleason variant. He's utilizing his traditional style that he's made famous for Mary Jane. I would have preferred if Spider-Man wasn't in the image and it was just Mary Jane.
Yeah, and it reminds me of the series, like the Life at 60s, or that little run it had. That's kind of what the color reminds me of.
Yeah. And then, of course, all new Venom #1. This is not considered a second printing. No one's saying anything. This was just a book that didn't come out last week, I think.
Just delayed, and it's a wraparound.
It's a wraparound, so it's still Venom #1. It's still considered a first printing. So if you see it, if you want it, it's a Herberto Ramos cover. That'd be great. Why would you say that? Those women are Varangians. And then he corrected himself. Oh my goodness. And Violet will probably benefit from virginity. The other two are fine. All right, moving on. Oh, look at that. I didn't put it. I originally had the Captain America, but apparently I took it out. Daredevil issue 16. This is a Mark Bagley spoiler variant. And if you see in the image, it's kind of hard to tell from the image, but our boy Bullseye gets his arm cut off. What's going on there?
You know what? That's what a good comic cover does. Makes me want to buy it.
Mm-hmm. So you check that one out. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue #5. That's the Javier Fernandez cover. I think it's just a cool cover, man. It is so
that
cool.
looks neat.
All right. And in the 1 in 25, Crystal Khan, and I think I misspelled her name. Green Lantern, Green Arrow, World's Finest Special #1. That's a cool cover of trading card. I
like the playing card style of it. It looks cool.
Mm-hmm. So with that said, those are your books for this week. There's a whole bunch more, but I'm not going to go off that list. It's a lot. There's a lot of books coming out this week, so go check them out. We went 2 hours and a half today. And my wife, I told my wife, she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna have dinner like at 8 o'clock," and she's like, "It's almost 9." Well, it's gonna be 9 now, but what needs to be done needs to be done.
Yeah.
Shane
will still be there.
Yeah, Shane, how was the week in comics so far?
Awesome, so good. I can't wait till Wednesday. Every Wednesday, I look forward to it. I'm at the store before they open, waiting for them to get there, waiting to give them my hard-earned money, and then just start reading them. I love it.
Yeah, same here. And this Wednesday, I don't have to go to my LCS because I FOC'd all my books.
Oh, sweet.
So I was able to do that. I'll get them tomorrow. But Shane, let the world know where they can find you.
You can find me on YouTube, 1063 Comics, on Instagram. Just like having fun talking about comics. If you follow YouTube, then look up my channel, give it a try, and subscribe if you want. I'd really appreciate it. Just a small little guy right now.
Guys, thank you so much for sticking around for 2 hours and a half. As you already know, if you don't know, you will be able to catch replays of these videos, cut and edit it precisely the way it should have been, and fixed to the ability. I know people love creator spotlights. People are liking 30, 60, 90s. Those shows are going to be coming out throughout the week. make sure you go back to those videos and leave a comment on those videos, because that helps build the traction for the algorithm. Always leave a comment. Pretty soon, I'm sorry. See, I'm out of my drink. My drink is over. Let me see. Just a little bit left. Right. So, oh, look at that. You can find him on Discord, Reddit, telling everyone new Deadpool's a girl. Oh, man. Thank you, Nerdy Geek. I appreciate it. Thank you, Las Cruces. But again, go check out those videos. In the near future, I'm going to be doing something to kind of help promote those videos. But go and leave a comment on those videos when they come out. It helps me out. It helps us out. We're going to have some fun with it in the near future so that we could have more people doing it. Until then, you guys know what I'm going to say. Thank you all for watching. Hit that like, subscribe, share it, all that good stuff. And I'll see you at the next one. Excelsior.
I think this is it. I think you're about to go home. Okay. All right. Look, thank you.
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 Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I never said thank you.
And you'll never have to.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I guess I'll see you.